Important today is going to be a discussion on the importance of gut health. So, in functional medicine, we've always really focused in on the gut. The gut has been a major contributor to overall health. And over the past decade or so, there's been so much research into gut health that it is so important to bring out this information, this knowledge out there that is helping so many people. So, what we're going to do today is just go over what is gut health, how can it be achieved, why is it so important? And 20 years ago, we used to always say it begins in the gut. Actually, that goes all the way back to Hippocrates. But in the last 20 years, we saw that there was this so-called leaky gut, where the tight junctions, the cells in the gut that keep toxins out, are allowing some small proteins, small food particles, other toxins into the bloodstream. They're supposed to be very selective, like a really good filter. But that filter becomes confused. It becomes more open because of inflammation and many things that we do in our lifestyle, such as lack of sleep, stress, lack of fermented foods or fiber, and other medications that decreases this balance in our gut, the health of our gut. So we found out as research continued into the gut that a lot of our immune system, even as much as 70 to 80% of our immune system is in the gut. They call that the gut associated lymphoid tissue. And that really activates our immune system, which increases inflammation when there is this leaky gut, when the tight junctures of our cells become less selective, they become more open, as opposed to being really tightly connected, only allowing vitamins and nutrients and minerals in, but then they get more open, and that is what's a bottom line of inflammation, a bottom line cause of inflammation and immune system activation. So there was this way of dealing with the gut, which was called the 4R program, which was simply to remove what was overgrown and to then replace the lack of, let's say, digestive enzymes or hydrochloric acid. And then we would re-inoculate with probiotics and then repair with nutrients that help to heal the gut. And that is an excellent program. Now, though, we know much more where DNA and PCR quantitative testing is now so efficient and effective that we can look for certain keystone species that we know in the research is beneficial for our gut, such as Akkermansia, fecal bacterium, rosaburia. These bacteria produce nutrients for our bodies. They produce vitamins, minerals, but as well as communication materials such as metabolites that communicate beneficial messages to our body, such as healing the gut. And actually, there's a gut-brain connection that some of these bacteria create a metabolite known as butyrate that helps with what they call brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which actually means that the brain is achieving better optimal health with increase in synapse, the way the cells in the brain communicate with one another. And that helps to improve that through the gut. And that's why the gut is so important, not only for our immune system health, because our first line of defense in our immune system, it's also important for our brain health. And also is a connection with metabolism, metabolic syndrome, and a lack of a certain species of bacteria known as Akkermansia. It's very important not to just do those standard microbiome tests that just tell you how your microbiome is compared to a general population. That's good information, but it's not specific enough to know if you have the keystone species and if you have an overgrowth of these so-called opportunistic bacteria that are normally in our gut. Candida is normally in our gut. H. pylori normally lives in our gut, and so do many other bacteria. But when they become overgrown, they become inflammatory, and they can activate our immune system and deplete and weaken our immune system with this constant and chronic overgrowth that our gut and our immune system is dealing with. So it's so important to do really a much better microbiome test. More importantly, to really be looking for these keystone species and to look at the quantity. So they're in robust amounts. And we also want to look at these opportunistic bacteria that are inflammatory. Some of them can activate the immune system. We know in research that Klebsiella or Prevotella are shown to be in higher proportions in persons with rheumatoid arthritis or these autoimmune conditions. So we look out for these species of bacteria that, when overgrown, we know are contributing to inflammation. We look at protocols that really are helpful at eradicating these bacteria, or at least getting them down to non-detectable limits. And we really want to use more natural targeted nutrients and herbs, because these bacteria are not resistant to these herbs as much as they are to antibiotics. So we see that we get great effectiveness with using natural protocols, a combination of certain nutrients that help to heal the gut and nutrients that help to decrease this overgrowth. And we have to target these overgrowth. So it could be Candida, which is a yeast or a fungus, which is a different protocol, or it could be H. pylori, that's a different protocol, or even parasites. We really are thorough in checking for DNA PCR analysis if there's parasites. So it really doesn't miss, as opposed to cultures, stool cultures, which often do miss parasites. So it's important to really measure also the intestinal health of the body, which means, are you digesting fats? That is part of a gut analysis, because part of fat digestion, and again, that's going to be with your fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, and K. So not only do these bacteria help to produce other B vitamins and vitamin K, and help with vitamin D use in the body, but they also make and help to produce other nutrients. So what's very important to know, that we really need to heal the gut lining. It's a mucus layer that needs to be protected, and when it's been disturbed through the use of NSAIDs or non-inflammatory anti-inflammatory steroidal anti-inflammatory medications, they disturb the gut lining. And other medications that lower stomach acid has another negative effect on absorbing vitamins and the gut microbiome. It allows for an overgrowth of opportunistic bacteria and H. pylori when there's a low stomach acid. So we really want to talk about digesting fats and absorbing those fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. That's going to involve the gut, the liver, and the gallbladder. There's a connection there. And that's why the gut is connected to so many systems in the body. It's connected with the liver, with our detoxification. That's an enzyme that should be measured, beta glucuronidase. That also can be measured in a very advanced stool test that we use, because we want to see how the liver is detoxifying toxins and hormones, estrogens. And that is an enzyme that we can see when it's turned up. And as when we see on a DNA PCR analysis that we see this enzyme turned up, very elevated, we know we have to support beta glucuronidation or glucuronidation in the liver. That's phase 2 detoxification. That's a really important process that we see from the liver, that takes place in the liver, but we see on a gut microbiome test. We also want to look to see if there's any food sensitivities where the body's reacting to many foods, and not only just reacting, because there's a point where a body is very reactive, and that again is a problem with many food sensitivity tests, that they only test IgG, which means it's just reacting. But you really want to test for more pathways down that pathway, which is inflammation, if the foods are actually causing inflammation, because otherwise you'll get so many false positives with many of these food sensitivity tests. And it's best to heal the gut first with the overgrowth, and healing the gut microbiome and balancing the gut microbiome, putting in those keystone species, Lactobacillus, bifidus, Akkermansia, fecal bacterium, rosaboria, other species that help to produce these very important nutrients and help with our gut-brain connection. So this is why gut health is so important. This is how you really can achieve gut health in this day and age, which really helps you to lead to a much better overall optimal health. Because when you achieve gut health, you can begin to lower these markers of inflammation, markers of elevated metabolic dysfunctions. For example, if there's a lack of akkermansia in the research, it's been shown to be connected with people with metabolic syndrome. So you can improve metabolism, you can improve cardiovascular disease, lung health, skin health, brain health, all with gut health. If you have any further questions, please reach out to us. We are here, and there's our website on the screen. That's a good way to get an appointment or at least a discovery call. Any other questions, please reach out. Contact us through our website or at our office here in Miami Beach. Everyone have a healthy